And got to the Tribune for the 2021 fall season.
So, the past 5 years, what are some of your favorite or what sports memories stand out the most in your 5 years of being a thumb person?
Well, there's a few. USA softball winning their three state championships, being on the field there at Sequoia Stadium in East Lansing. They've had and it covering them and seeing that a public school can do this, because a lot of times when you have those consecutive runs of state championships, it's run by a lot of private schools. But
Right.
USA is very much a public school, and the machine, I would say, that they've created
Yeah.
is something else. Also, being at Ford Field twice to cover Ubly State Championships. Of course, the first time they lost to Ottawa Lake Whiteford in Division 8, but in 2023 they won the state championship in Division 8, and that was a great experience. So a lot of the stories that keep me going, especially, are the times where we hit the state portion of the postseason.
Probably the best defensive Super Bowl we've seen in years between Carolina and Denver. Thomas Davis, I believe it was safety for the Panthers, played with a rod in his arm because he had an arm injury.
Players have been acculturated to be in denial about their physical health. They grow up from Pop Warner and Little League to believe the play is the most important thing, not long-term health. And I've had players play, one with a collapsed lung, one with a broken right leg. And these are intelligent people, but if you try to talk to them about it, they're surrounded by people who share the same values, and it's like the whole concussion issue. I've told players after a concussion, do not play the next week, and they listen very courteously and go ahead.
And like we're saying, the round of 64 is just so daunting. In fact, I remember when I did my freelance sort of a conception of this show when I was in high school. This is kind of when I started doing freelance shows like this. I walked around my basement and talked about every single round of 64 game, and it took an hour. So pretty obvious we're not going to talk about every single round of 64 game, but the big thing is upsets. That's kind of where we'll go about round of 64 is what are some of the upsets that you have in mind from this bracket?
See, one of the teams that I've really been eyeballing, and maybe honestly, this is probably just recency bias, even into last year's bracket, but I'm kind of looking at Yale and Texas A&M just because we know that Yale is battle tested for a spot like this. I mean, look at last year. Last year, Auburn, I don't remember what the odds were, but they were one of the favorites to win the national championship. A lot of people had them winning the whole thing, beating a UConn or beating a Duke. So I think Yale might come out and surprise some people. Now, again, can they do it 2 years in a row? Beating an SEC team, we will just have to see.
Panthers series. I actually
Yes.
will ask this question to start, and that is, are you a fan of how the NHL playoff bracket has been designed since the four divisions have been put in place?
Yeah, I actually am. And I know I'm in the minority on that. I know a lot of people kind of want a different playoff structure and system, but I love the way the NHL designs theirs. I think it makes for a lot of fun series and rivalries right off the bat. On the flip side, like I do acknowledge, especially in this Panthers Lightning round one series, a really, really, really good team is gonna go home in round one. I am in the minority on this, I believe so, but I really like kind of having that divisional component before you get kind of to your conference there, and you're really getting the best of the best coming through every single round.
Sure, and I will say I am in the majority where I do not agree, but I certainly understand your standpoints where round one does produce some rivalries. Like I think I know Savannah Humoller, who is a content creator in Dallas, works for the Stars, D210 Sports, and she didn't exactly say it like this, but I interpreted it like this from Stars fans. Death, taxes, Stars, Avs, round one. That's kind of
Yes.
how I kind of interpreted that. And it seems like in Florida, it's death, taxes, Battle of Florida.